Hey girlies, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my concert-proof makeup. I went to see Beyonce in Tampa last week where it's really hot and humid, so if you want to learn how to do makeup that will last through that, just keep on watching. I've already gone ahead and filled in my eyebrows, as you can tell. I'm going to be using my Makeup Forever foundation palette to go ahead and conceal my eyebrows. So I'm just grabbing a flat brush to make sure that my eyebrows look nice and even and, you know, create a solid base for my eyeshadow that's coming up. I'm now taking my One Size Stage White powder foundation to go ahead and set that. This is essentially a white pigment, so it's going to be perfect as our eyeshadow base. I'm going for this like cat eye, like butterfly-y look today, so I'm just outlining what I want to do. As you can see over here, I'm basically creating like a really big wing and adding a solid white half moon type shape to my eye. Honestly, it's hard to describe, but I'm glad I can at least show you over here. I'm then taking my KIMCHI CHIC BEAUTY and TRIXIE MATTEL collaboration of palette, and I'm using the pink right there. And I'm going to basically pack that on my entire lid. As you can see here, I'm not going past the white. I'm not being too careful with it or anything. I just want it to be solid pink and want to make sure that the inner part is nice and rounded so that you can see it when I open my eyes. I'm then gonna grab this HAUS LABS paint in the shade Magenta Shimmer, which is a new one that I was really excited to use. And I'm just gonna basically pack that on top of that pink. So the eyeshadow we did previously is essentially a base for this paint, which as you can see is really pretty. I am obsessed with it. I'm gonna take one of the glitters from that same palette and just go ahead and pack it in the middle of my lid. As you can see here, I'm not adding too much or anything. I just want it to be pop of sparkle, and I think this was perfect for it. Just a nice bright pink look with glitter in the middle. I'm then taking this eyeliner slash brow pomade from Kat Von D and cutting that white, making sure that it's nice and sharp, you know, and even on both sides. I was having a little bit of trouble making it look opaque, so I just did the shape, let it dry for a few seconds, and going over it with that same One Size white powder. This is, like I was saying, this is basically a big white eyeshadow, so it does help it with the patchiness and everything. Honestly, I feel like I could have just skipped the white pencil and only used the Kat Von D pomade, but you live and you learn. I didn't practice the look prior, so this is me paying for that. It's looking a little bit better now, so I'm just gonna move on to the black eyeliner. I was also going to use a paint for this, but then I just wanted to get through it faster. I'm using the One Size Point Made eyeliner in shade black. This is just the Disney packaging. It's not different or anything. But I'm essentially just marking the outside of that wing and filling it in with that same eyeliner. This eyeliner has a really fine tip and is really pigmented, and it doesn't move really. So even though it's a little bit harder to apply just because of that tip and, you know, the way you need to hold it and everything, it was a great decision because it didn't move through the night. I'm gonna take my liquid eyeliner from NYX and I'm just gonna clean that white that was under that. We used the other products to basically make a nice opaque white, but we can also use other products like this eyeliner to clean our work, you know. After many attempts of cleaning it, I was able to get it to where I wanted it. So now I'm just going to line the top of my lashes just like you would do for any other eyeliner, just to make sure we can hide the lash bands later when we add that. And then I didn't feel like the white was popping enough, or I didn't look like graphic enough, if that makes sense. So I just went ahead and added a little bit more there on top. And it's looking better and better as I corrected more. It's looking more like what I was envisioning. As you can see here, I'm even taking a little bit more of that pink and cleaning it up to make sure that it looks, you know, nice and even, you know. Let's move on to the face and then we'll revisit the eyes later in the video. We're going to get into the concert proofing of things over here. So I'm starting off with my Secure the Blur primer by One Size. I'm just gonna warm it up on my fingers and spread it everywhere basically. Now we want this to be sweat proof, of course, so I'm going to be using my other One Size primer. The instructions say to just use a little bit and warm it up with your fingertips and then just press it into your skin. You don't want to work this too much. You don't want to mess with the texture or anything. You just want to basically put it everywhere where you get sweaty. For me, it's mainly on my T-zone, so that's where I'm going to apply it. For foundation, I'm going to be using my HAUS LABS Skin Tech Foundation. Mine's in the shade 240. And as you can see here, I'm using my fingers to apply the foundation to my nose area. I found that it makes the product really go into my pores and really stay in there without making it look cakey, if that makes sense. I'm gonna blend it out with my Rare Beauty foundation brush, which has been my favorite lately. Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna get more of those just so that I have them always. I'm gonna go back to my Makeup Forever foundation palette and take one of the bronzing shades there to add a little bit of warmth to my skin tone. I feel like my foundation is just slightly lighter than my skin right now because I'm a little tan. So that's mainly what I'm wanting to do there. Just add a little bit of warmth to my skin. And then I'm going to take this Rare Beauty liquid blush and then just apply it to my cheeks over here. As you can see, I like to apply it to the back of my hands first and then pick it up with a brush to make sure that I don't do too much too soon. I will be doing too much, just, I like to build it up and make sure that it looks nice and blended. So I'm going to take that over my nose and my forehead to make sure that everything looks cohesive. You don't just get red on your cheeks, so you want to apply it to all the high points, just how you do with highlighter and bronzer. Switching it up a little bit here and doing my concealer last. This is the One Size Butter Silk Concealer. I believe mine's in the shade 1N. And I'm not going to apply it anywhere really except my under eyes. I think my skin is looking pretty good, so I'm just using this to highlight my under eyes basically and clean up underneath the eye look that we just did. As you can see here, I'm not even being super precise with the look because the liner on itself was already extra sharp. So I'm just taking the brush up there, making sure that everything looks nice and blended, covered, that the foundation and concealer are even. I'm blending it up over here up to the sides of my nose. As you can see, it almost creates a nose contour on its own. So that's great. Then I'm taking my Ultra Pink powder from One Size to set my T-zone. So I'm going to use that under my eyes, making sure that I'm not using too much powder. I just want to set those lines before I go over it again with Bake. But I'm going to go over my forehead, the sides of my nose. All those places that you don't like creasing, basically. Then I'm taking that same powder, but in the translucent shade to go ahead and set the rest of my face. As you can see, I'm using a really big brush here just for efficiency, but I'm being careful, not swiping. I'm more so patting or dabbing on my face to make sure that I don't move what's under it. I'm now taking my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer in the shade medium, and I'm just gonna reinforce the cream bronzer that I applied earlier. So I'm just going on my cheeks, forehead, and a little bit under my neck, just for structuring, if you will. I'm also gonna take this matte bronzer from MAC to just go ahead and deepen it a little bit. I think the bronzer I'm using is just a little bit too light for me right now, so I'm just using that to make it pop a little bit more, Now I'm moving on to using this powder puff from Real Techniques to start the baking process. The areas I like to bake are essentially my under eyes and my jaw. As you can see over here, I like to go up to the sides of my nose and cut the bronzer and blush, basically. While that's baking, I'm gonna grab my HAUS LABS blush in the shade Dragon Fruit Haze, and I'm just going to go over that blush that I added earlier. As you can see here, I am being quite heavy-handed. Blushes are the first thing to wear off. So I always like to start more intense and, just let it do its thing through the night. Now I'm just gonna grab that same powder brush from earlier and then just blend everything that I was baking back into my skin. Now we have a mom water break over here. We usually like to pregame as we get ready, as everyone does when we go to concerts. I'm now gonna just grab a smaller brush to get rid of all that excess powder blended back into my skin. Another important step over here is to basically melt down all of the powders you just added. I'm using my MAC Fix Plus to do this, and as you can see, I'm basically drenching my face in water. You can take that powder puff again and press it back into your skin, but I just personally like to use my mirror and fan it off, basically. Now I'm just grabbing that same pink eyeshadow from the KIMCHI CHIC palette and using that on my lower lash line. Again, not being super precise or anything. I just wanted a wash of pink down there. And then just for added sparkles, because why not, I'm using my heavy metal liner from Urban Decay in the shade Midnight Cowboy, just for a little bit of a pop, basically. Then I'm gonna grab that same Haus Labs blush from earlier and then just make it pop a little bit more. It was kind of feeling like it didn't pop that much. I definitely like my blush to be super intense, so I just went ahead and added just a third layer because why not? And so far it's looking good. I think I like how the face and the eye makeup are looking together so far. Now it's time to coat those powdery lashes. I'm using the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara. I love this one because the brush is really, really tiny, so your lashes won't get clumpy or anything. Then we're just gonna tightline, of course. I'm using my Sephora Collection 12-Hour Wear Black Pencil. And I'm just making sure that I tightline right under where I placed that eyeliner earlier. So it's time to get into lashes. This one specifically is by the Ardell BBL collection. I just went ahead and trimmed the pair and just created this little custom set for myself. I'll leave all the information here on the screen. And I'm using the clear duo lash glue, so nothing special. I think this lasts for as long as it needs to, so no need to get crazy over here. I'm now just gonna grab that same mascara and then just try to glue my lashes to the fake ones. I mean, I did just get an eyelash perm recently, so that was pretty easy. I didn't have to curl them or anything, which was so nice. But yeah, now that those are set, I'm just going to fix my lip line, basically. I'm using a ColourPop eyeliner for that. And then just for a pink wash of color, I'm using my favorite lip tint by Rare Beauty. As you guys know, I'm obsessed with these ones because they leave the color, but they are super comfortable. You do not feel the texture of it at all. And I don't know, I just really, really like them. And then the secret, the main ingredient to this recipe, the thing that will make this face last all night is the Kryolan Fixing Setting Spray. I've tried it a few times and has not failed me yet. As you saw earlier in the video, and I'll show you here on the screen again, I did go ahead and do a transfer test at the end of the concert after I had been sweating for 3 hours and it still did not move. So you can trust that this hairspray setting spray will work wonders for you. And yeah, that was everything. That is the entire look. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. I definitely had fun filming it. Let me know what you think of this format, of this voiceover tutorial type video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment because it helps me a lot. I'd really, really appreciate if you left me a comment. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye.